Second clap. Connor? Where's the second clap? This isn't good podcasting, Connor. I need you to talk.
I hate both of you.
So we just watched the first Conjuring. And you guys are welcome to the last pod of the Hit Play podcast. We're your hosts. Connor has dissolved the podcast.
Mhm.
We are officially selling any and all assets.
What assets?
Yeah, you're right. I own all of it.
Don't I own half this?
Oh, you own the lights and the camera and the tripod?
Okay, I own like a fifth.
Yeah, we just watched The Conjuring. Connor hates us. And
Is that our intro?
yeah, that's our intro.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Hit Play Podcast.
How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel?
I'm not happy. I'm not okay
Yeah?
right now. I'm in a really bad spot.
Let's start with you, Isaac. You had seen this before?
Yeah, probably like 3 or 4 times.
Did you watch it when it came out?
I don't recall. Probably not in theaters for sure. Probably a little later when it was on like the streaming / DVD. You hearing the?
You're not a big horror fan, though.
No.
What convinced you to watch
Nope.
it?
My uncle watched it and he put it on and was like, "We're watching this," and I was like, "God damn it!"
All right, people.
And yeah, it was just kind of on, and I was watching, and I was like, "This is scary, but it's also pretty good as a movie."
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw 3. I haven't seen 2, which is a weird way of going around.
I mean, they're horror films,
But,
but it's not really a story.
I think I've seen one of the spin-offs, like the
Like Annabelle?
Nuns or the Annabelle.
Oh,
one of
Nuns.
those.
Yeah.
Um,
And were you familiar at all with James Wan as a director?
I knew him from Saw,
Mhm.
and I knew that Insidious came out around this time. So I-
Insidious came out before. I
Yeah.
don't know how many years
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
but same director, nevertheless.
Just a guy who knows how to make people scared.
Yeah.
And I think guys like that are either in asylums or they are film directors.
Or podcasters.
Or
Podcasters.
I mean, did you have any I mean, you had seen the Saw movies prior to watching this, or
Mhm.
did
The
you see Insidious?
First one. No.
No?
I don't watch scary movies.
You haven't seen the first Insidious still?
No.
No, really.
No.
I know what we're doing next.
I will not
Can we
watch
not?
Insidious.
Can we not?
I will veto that one. I will veto that one.
Hey, Connor didn't get to veto The Conjuring. We have to
I'm
override.
vetoing the Insidious.
All right, 2 against 1.
I've been up for every movie ever thought of. Insidious is where I draw the line.
Really?
Yes.
Something that you've heard about it, or you've seen clips?
I just don't want to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
Scary.
You've seen.
I don't want to hear it. You're the last person who's allowed to make fun of me here on these couches.
Connor, I was talking to you earlier today, but for the people at home, you have no experience with The Conjuring whatsoever, and you
I
had
had none.
no familiar with James Wan as a director.
No.
You had heard of the Insidious movies.
I had
prior.
heard of the stuff he had made, obviously. Because
Aquaman.
who hasn't? But I had not watched any of his works, no.
And that is because you are not a fan of horror, or you just never got around to them.
But what gave it away, James?
No. But I mean, he's not a fan. Isaac's not a fan of horror, but
Yeah.
he still ended up watching them just by
Yeah,
chance. You know,
Somebody forced him to. And guess what just happened?
possible. I'm just saying.
No, I had not happened upon any of his works through whatever reason, because most of the people that I know are not sadists who enjoy getting off on me crying on their couch. I say most because I have known a handful of people who really enjoyed watching me freak out, but not just you guys. Oh.
Understandable.
Yeah, no, don't know his works.
But The Conjuring. This was scary.
Yeah,
Isaac.
I mean, having seen it 3 or 4 times already, I was a little less scared. I knew the fake outs that the movie tends to do. Specifically the one with the music box.
At the very end.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then the obviously iconic jump scare in the middle with the clap that is the movie poster or the cover of the DVD case.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew all that was coming. It didn't really scare me as much, but I was still surprised on how tense I actually got, like waiting for those moments, even if the actual moments weren't as scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just the cuts up, like the thing that this movie does great is it doesn't use music like every
Yeah.
other horror movie, where it'll build up with a slow like, and then
drones
it
a
just
lot.
dies for like
Yeah.
5 minutes before it hits you with the jump scare. And then after the jump scare, obviously you get that like the string like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the silence has always led me to be like on edge more, which is why I love when a director knows how to use silence, either in horror or in action movies. I'm like, this is peak.
You ever seen The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock?
No,
That's a horror film with no soundtrack whatsoever. Just a
I
fun
would
little
love it.
film trivia.
I would love it.
Wasn't that one bad, or am I thinking something else?
I mean, I've seen it and I didn't really like it that much, but it's also a fairly dated horror film. Anyway,
Yeah,
in my
it's
opinion.
Hitchcock.
Maybe you should settle down.
Whatever helps you feel better.
James, how do you feel about your namesake,
James Wan.
your brethren?
I have never seen the Saw movies.
Yeah.
I had seen Insidious, however.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen almost all of the Insidious films. I've also seen almost all the Conjuring films.
That explains a lot.
My family loves horror movies.
Yeah,
So I grew up watching a lot of horror.
a lot of
movies.
horror.
Not so much gore. That's more so just a me thing. I'm just not really that interested in Saw personally.
No.
I'll still watch them most likely. But I saw this film in theaters. I remember the shot of the ghost on top of the cabinet when it
Yeah.
zooms in on her face. The entire reaction of the theater, because it was like opening day, the whole theater just like took in a big breath, like, and that moment always stuck out to me. Especially just the balls to zoom in on the face that quickly. I was like, that's like, because at that point for me, horror was like the Zack and Cody,
Yeah.
Disney Channel like Halloween specials on TV. That was for the most part like Goosebumps, stuff that's not really scary at all,
Mm-hmm.
which might be blasphemy to some people. That's the AC, don't worry.
I know it's
But anyway, to me, the Insidious film and Conjuring represent like the best of that 2010s jump scare era of horror film, in my opinion. The ones that do jump scares correctly. There was a lot of mostly found footage films from that era
Yeah.
that were complete trash. I'm looking at you, Paranormal Activity. that had jump scares, but they weren't ghosts.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And that's what Insidious and Conjuring gave me. Insidious leans a little too heavily into the like supernatural element of it for me
Demonic,
personally,
yeah.
particularly the first movie, which I think might be like an unpopular opinion because that one is super beloved.
Yeah.
And it is a good film. But I love The Conjuring because it's just the ghosts, and the exorcism.
It's interesting you say that because I do remember specifically The Conjuring, like making waves with how it scared people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I alluded to it a little earlier, but like just it wasn't cheap jump scares. They felt like
Mm-hmm.
it was almost meta in the way that it played on the audience of like, oh, the music stopped, it's gonna get you, and then oh no it doesn't. Oh, character turns around and bam, it gets you. Or like, oh, we got you with the second fake jump scare, and then 2 minutes later, oh, the daughter's getting dragged across the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Insidious is a lot more conventional with its jump scares. It's silence, character turns a corner, and then strings blaring, and there's something in the corner, something like that, Whereas this film is definitely a more, he knows that you know that there's a jump
Yeah.
scare coming,
Yeah.
kind of mind tricks going on the audience, which I love about this film as well, personally. The use of sound is also, I think, just how would you describe it? It's an element to horror that you can't take away. I've heard before, and don't remember where I heard it, but I remember thinking it when I was watching The Conjuring in theaters. This idea that if you want a horror movie to not be scary, you should actually cover your ears and not your eyes, because the sound is everything.
Yeah.
More so than what you see. And I remember thinking that when I was watching The Conjuring in theaters, because sound is such an important part of this
I mean,
film.
how many times did a door creak open and Connor went, "Get the fuck out of here"?
I swore a lot.
Anytime a character went into the cellar,
yeah.
Why would you?
Or he started hearing like the clock ticking, and he'd just be like, "Oh my god!"
Listen,
You didn't have a good time.
they got to go down there because the plot's down there.
Yeah.
fuck the plot. Just,
Speaking of the plot,
uh-huh.
this is also, we're talking 2010s horror. So you have The Conjuring, which has an exorcism in it. You have The Last Exorcism, which has an exorcism in it. You have The Taking of Dora Lebra, which has an exorcism in it. You have all the Paranormal Activity movies, which basically all feature an exorcism of some kind of the house, at least. The actual plot of this film is pretty par for the course for a horror film.
I mean, they quite literally spell it out like
Yeah.
a couple of times, which I thought, in the few moments of lucidity that I had, was really funny. Just because like there were moments where they're just like, "Yeah, this is exactly how the plot of a horror film goes," because this is how possession goes. And I was like, "Well, you guys are really just like you're giving me like here's your rising action, here's your climax, here's your falling action." I was like, "Oh yeah, look at that."
My only complaint about this film, watching it back, is that the actual climax of this film happens with almost no, like, yes, there's rising action throughout the story, and then it just feels like they just get to the climax.
Yeah.
There's no extra like plateau where there should be one, because they go to the church, they say this has to go to the Vatican, and they're like, all right, we'll wait, and then never mind, we can't do it. We're gonna do it right now, actually.
Yeah.
And to me, that was just like a little too foot on the pedal.
I thought the same thing because like when they finished I remember thinking when they were done with it, like, oh, we have to wait for the Vatican. I was like, I got another like hour of this shit to get through. Oh my god. I was like, this is like the halfway mark. Like I'm gonna have to sit here and watch this get progressively worse.
You only had 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Basically.
It was
I don't know
torturous.
how you felt about that, however, in terms of the actual
ending?
pacing of this film. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think it works, especially with the characters of the Warrens, because Ed is very open about, hey, Lorraine can't be here when shit starts to hit the fan, and then shit starts to hit the fan, and he's like, God damn it. And it just creates another layer of conflict within the conflict of like, well, we have to do this because this lady will die, but also if we do this, my wife might die, and like, I don't really want her to die because I kind of like her.
Only kinda.
So in that regards, I think it worked well. I mean, it would have been kind of, were we expecting like an Exorcist type of,
Yeah.
he comes and the beacon of light is
Yeah.
on him as he
Yeah.
steps off the cab, kind of final shot.
Even that, having seen this film previously, I was still surprised by how quickly it ended,
yeah,
just because I didn't remember it.
especially because he spends so much time just building up to the first occurrence. You're like, oh, well, they're gonna have like a Dark Souls level final battle.
Yeah.
For this
But
woman's
then you
body.
take a movie like The Exorcist, and it's like The Exorcist, like the priests show up like halfway through, and then the rest of the film is the exorcism.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, it's like they're like, "Oh, we can't even wait for a priest. We have to do it ourselves
gas,
now." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this. It's over.
Yeah.
Bye." I don't know. In terms of the plot of this film, I think that actually probably is the weakest point,
I'd agree with that.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's pretty conventional by 2010s horror standards, and maybe it's because I'm saying this looking back at what the Conjuring franchise and all of those other franchises from the 2010 have become, which is more or less parodies of themselves. That I feel like, where the Ed and Lorraine story ended up going, I feel like there wasn't really much meat on the bone in this one. Like, yeah, they have a kid. Yeah, their marriage is like, there's tension with their relationship and their job. But I still feel like that didn't get pushed far enough in this film. Like, he spends the whole movie going, Lorraine, you can't be here when I do the exorcism. And then she's completely fine throughout the entire course of the exorcism.
Well, you say that after having seen the movie, but when you're watching it for the first time, I don't know. For me, I was like, oh shit, Lorraine's actually gonna die. I mean, Connor was like,
I said it like
think
3
Lorraine's
times.
gonna die.
I
Yes.
definitely said it multiple times. Where I was
Yeah.
like, "There's no way in hell she survives this movie because she's giving off every death flag you
Yes.
can throw."
But
and
that's
when the
what
first
I'm
time
saying.
I watched it, I had that same feeling of like, yo, they're actually gonna kill Vera Farmiga.
But that's what I'm saying is that it doesn't push. It doesn't actually
Yeah,
go there.
it doesn't push the
you
boundary,
know,
yeah.
it still feels a little unsatisfying because even at the end you were like nobody died.
Yeah.
Like you
And, like,
expected that.
Not to say that you need like a death in a horror film for it to be like scary or like
Other than a
satisfying.
dog.
But like, well,
Yeah,
I'm
you
upset
forgot about the
that.
dog.
Yeah. Well,
Spoiler alert.
you've been spoiling everything. Dog
Yeah.
happens the first 5 minutes of the film.
It's a 10-year-old
You spoiled
movie.
the ending.
It's a 10-year-old movie.
I know. Just saying. Why didn't we spoiler alert at the start?
Because anybody who clicks on a movie podcast that says 10 years of should immediately expect spoilers.
Oh, is that why we're covering this? Is it?
No, it's because it's spooky season, but it has also
Okay.
been 10 years.
Cool.
I think.
Anyway,
11, sorry.
it's been 11.
It's been 11.
Says Sarah.
Thank you, IT.
On time as always.
Put a
So we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of its 10-year
It's
anniversary.
14 years. Nice.
Yeah. Is what we're doing. Connor, how'd you feel about the Warrens?
Which ones were the Warrens?
The main, I don't know, just
Okay,
the
cool.
main two characters.
Dude, you gotta give me some credit, man.
Literally is the first thing that's popped up in text is Ed and Lorraine Warren. And in the background picture is Vera Farmiga and whoever the guy is,
I was like,
Patrick something
I need you to understand
that you
that-
don't read.
I'm not in a good spot right now.
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson, thank you.
I think
Ultimate
they're fine.
that guy in movies.
The male Ed is I couldn't look at him without thinking of like he seems like I don't know if it's a different role he played or whatever, but he's got like this suave like you know, I'm the main hero kind of feel to him.
I mean, he is the half god of Aquaman, so yeah. I mean, the half brother of Aquaman, so.
Yeah, so it's just like he's just got this like vibe about him where I'm like every time he's on screen I'm like I feel like he's gonna do like the Smolder from Tangled. You know, or he's just gonna
The
do
Finn.
like or he's gonna do like one of those like TikTok chat edits where it's like the Vine boom is his face like does the kind of crap or whatever. Just like
Fair enough.
so I couldn't really take him seriously. And Lorraine looks she looked about as expected, and I got to give him credit for that. Makeup design was great for this film. Cuz she looked like she had seen some shit. It's hard to put that on somebody's face. So just that like soulless like I've danced with the devil and the devil danced back. Like
What about the family? A lot of child actors in this movie.
one of those kids should have died. It'd be so for real.
It's hard to kill kids.
Yeah, it's hard to
It's
kill
really
kids.
not. I mean, they don't really put up a fight.
We're going to have to cut that.
Oh yeah,
We're going to have to cut that.
No, we can leave that in. Everybody knows it's satire.
Disclaimer: kids are actually incredibly difficult to kill.
Disclaimer: I'm not saying anything.
It's the morals that get in the way.
What I meant for is it's hard to kill kids for the sake of ratings
No, I know. It's just
to keep a R-rated
Mm-hmm.
theatrical cut.
you cannot. Yeah,
So we don't want people to go home feeling bad about themselves most of the time.
they killed the dog. I already feel bad. I felt bad 5 minutes in the film.
It's a horror film. You get used to it.
Dogs can live.
There's a website called "Does the Dog Die?"
Yeah.
and you can type in the name of the movie, and it will tell you whether the dog dies. That's how common it is in horror
I
films.
know. But the cat survived an alien. Why can't the dog live?
Hollywood's bias.
Ridley Scott must have been a
Cat person.
cat person.
Yeah.
The cat was the one who released the alien in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so right. But
The actors.
going back to the actors, right? I thought the kid actors did a great job.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like you watch a lot of movies, kid actors are real hit and miss.
Yes.
Oh, more than that.
A lot of them are really bad. Which I mean, it's fine. They're children, right? Who cares? But like, when you get like good ones, it's because of that. It's such a good contrast. Where you're just like, wow, these guys are really good at their jobs.
Yeah.
And I mean, I gotta hand to them because like, I feel like it's not easy to act scared. Maybe that's because I'm such a scaredy little bitch. Where I feel like it's hard for me to like fake it
Yeah.
because I'm just like, but just like those like gut-wrenching, guttural screeches of terror, I feel like are really difficult to
Wha-
fake.
Wait till you learn they were actually pulled on wires
Yeah.
throughout the movie, making of this movie.
That would track, yeah. You're not told
Easy
what's
to
happened, and then you're just yanked on wires by your hair. That'd be pretty funny.
There's pretty cool behind the scenes footage of this movie.
I'm sure. I bet. I'd love to look at that. Maybe.
There's
when I'm not
one, I think,
shaking,
that
but-
scene in their living room and the girl's getting dragged by her hair. There's literally, they set up like 4 different child actors to like stunt just to get all pulled so they could get the one shot. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll say this to move on from the actors, because I think we all think they did a pretty good job.
Everybody in the movie did great.
Did they
Mhm.
feel like a family to you?
Yeah, for the most part. Enough. I think that's.
And I think that's what elevates this movie is you actually feel like weight for this family.
Mm-hmm.
Like you feel like, oh God, this is gonna torment them
Yeah,
forever.
it wasn't a typical horror where you're like, God, I can't wait for these assholes to die. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I kind of don't want anybody to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but I don't. But like,
So James Wan as
Mhm.
the director.
what did he win?
You get away with that joke once. I'm not gonna let
What'd
you.
you
get
say,
away with it twice.
Wand?
James Wan. What did he win?
I hate you so much. Just for that, we're watching Insidious next week. I repelled my veto.
You know, it was worth it.
One of the things that struck me about this film, even way back when I watched it for the first time, is that this film has a pretty long average shot length, which
Yeah.
even compared to Insidious, I would say this takes it even further than that. A lot of just wandering through the hallways, following behind and in front of actors, and just letting that tension build as they turn the corners. There's also a lot of interesting uses of zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom is like it's so uncommon you'd think it was forbidden.
Zoom is bad.
Zoom is literally considered like the worst technique. that
I
you
remember
can
asking
use.
one time I showed a short film with a friend and I was like, can we zoom in there? He's like, or I could just get closer. And I was like, but why can't we just zoom? He's
Yeah.
like, shut up and let me do what I have to do. I was like, all right, fair enough.
Because I remember when they show the ghost on the cabinet, they zoom in on her face
Yeah.
for like it's like almost half a second of a
It's
shot.
very quick, yeah.
But in theaters, I was like, holy shit, the zoom. You never see that
Yeah.
anymore. But now rewatching this, there's that scene where they first get onto the property
Yes.
and it zooms in on the girl sitting by the tree.
Yes.
And I was like,
that's kind
I
of
was
cool.
like, we doing this now?
Yeah.
We're bringing this back?
Yeah.
No one does this anymore, my guy.
And like,
Which-
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I think part of the reason why it works is 2 reasons. One, it sets up the other zoom in on the ghost later on, because so you're used to that technique. And 2, it's also in the style of movies from the 60s and 70s when people would just zoom in on shit out the ass
Yeah.
because that was the only way you had to
Yeah.
get close.
They're like, look what we can do.
Yeah.
I was to say, like, to me, and maybe this is just a personal thing, but like, I always felt like zoom-ins, were very like tension building, and like, I don't necessarily mean like negative tension in terms of like horror movies where I'm like, oh god, something's gonna happen, but like even in just like actions or whatever, when you like slow zoom on something, it just feels like everything's getting like tighter.
I think that's
Um,
the reason why they went with it in that
Yeah.
first instance when they zoom in on the girl by the tree is because it's such a jarring technique to
Yeah.
modern audiences that it's like my first thought was, what am I like looking at?
Yeah.
You also felt like you were the ghost latching onto that little girl.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like
Like,
that's
it-
that's what exactly how I read it.
It feels very unnatural for our eyes to do that. So
Yeah.
watching, you're just like, ugh,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
something's incorrect.
Yeah.
There was
Right.
also another point where they did the kind of the Jaws zoom when it's the front of the house,
Yes.
which
Through
is
the
a
trees or
yeah.
through the driveway.
Yeah.
classic technique.
Yeah.
Which I thought was another great use of a zoom in this film. But in terms of the actual like long like one shots in this film, this is 2010s, so this is also peak Alfonso Cuarón and Iñárritu year. So you got Birdman, you have like Gravity. He's already done
Wan had James Wan had a binge drinking night
Yeah.
and watched watched The Revenant and was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Bet.
Those films came out later, of course, but like this is the point in time in cinematic history
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I think American directors are going, we can just not call cut. But does it work for this film for you guys? Would you say?
There were a lot of really cool takes where it was just like it looked like at least one continuous shot, and I couldn't really tell
Mhm.
where there were cuts happening. Like the during the exorcism, the climax, when they do the like overhead where it does like
Yeah,
swing.
that's a great
I was
shot.
like, that's an awesome shot.
When it goes like around
Uh huh.
the
The banister or
arc,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, the arc. Yeah. Yeah, that was sick. I was like, wow, that was really cool. Because like that took me out of like the fact that I was pissing myself. And I was just like, wow, that was really cool. And then immediately back into it. But like,
I always think of the shot where the cop is like, I'm gonna go get more coffee, goes to the kitchen, hears the thing outside, walks outside,
Follows
walks
him.
back in, and then you see the ghost off in the distance.
Yeah.
And it's great because you get one instance in the kitchen, another chance outside. That's two chances you get to see a ghost, and they don't give it to you. And then finally, it's the woman between the bed sheets. And that's not even the jump scare in the scene. It's when she tackles him to the ground after that.
The rule of
Like-
thirds are applied in this movie
Yeah.
to great degree.
well, yeah, because the Father, Son, and the Heavenly Spirit.
Which, I mean, if you want to go full English
He's
teacher,
learning. He's learning.
if you want to go
What do
full
you mean
English
he's learning?
teacher,
I know all these things. I took English too.
You only took English 2. I took English 3.
I took English as well. Prick.
I took English as third.
I took English as good.
I'm quitting.
Well, good for you.
I'm handing my 2 weeks notice effective immediately.
There is also, I think, contrasted with the one shots in this film, a lot of very interesting edits, just individual cuts. There was one that stood out to Connor and myself where the Asian character is running around the house trying to find the little girl, and he enters into the bedroom with the cabinet, and then he closes the door behind him, and it immediately match cuts to another
Yeah.
bedroom. I don't remember noticing that the first time, but that was like
Very cool.
so like, I mean, it had to be intentional,
Yeah.
but it's just
It made me jump.
it's like jarring.
Yeah, like it kind of shocked me a little bit because you're right. We both did like make like a noise. You were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh."
It's like it almost gives like a extra like supernatural layer
Yeah,
to it.
He's
I
a
don't-
ghost. He was the
He is the
ghost.
ghost.
that's well. That was what I thought was happening for like a split second. I was like, "Oh God!" Now the house is like rearranging itself. I'm like, "Come on!" I was like, "We got enough of this crap. Like, can we just
They're
like
play-
pump the
They're
brakes?"
playing a game of the betrayal in the House of
Yeah.
the Hill.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh man."
I don't know if you had any stand-up moment like that for you as well.
No, I think you guys said it all
There you go.
in that regards.
Would you watch the second one?
Fuck no.
Would you?
I wouldn't be opposed. Not anytime soon.
Yeah,
Next year?
I would need to. I would need to watch it in the middle of the day, heavily inebriated.
No,
No.
no, 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 no,
No.
no.
Don't no. I was freaking out because the neighbor showed up.
I'm gonna no you.
No. I'd still be crying and pissing myself.
What do we think? Do we still think jump scares superior form of horror? Or
Superior? No.
What do you prefer?
Anything else? See, there's a difference between superior and effective.
Well, this film I think uses both
Mm-hmm.
your classic jump scare.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best examples of a film with jump scares in it.
Yeah.
Second none to Insidious. But this film, I think, uses tension more than Insidious. The thing with Insidious, though, is that there are only like maybe one or two of those super long takes, but they like hide things in the background throughout, and they don't do that in this film. And having seen Insidious and then watching this one is like torturous because even rewatching this, I'm still looking at the background trying to see, like, you did it in Insidious. I know you're going to do it here.
Yeah.
And they don't do it in this film. And that adds to the tension even like more so for a repeated
Once again,
watcher.
he's becoming meta.
because
That's
that's
how
what
he
I
scares people.
that's what I was doing. That's what making me tense, along with just like the drawn out nature of it. I was doing the same thing. I was like, something's in the background. Like, you don't make these, because there was a lot of shots where like the character in the shot is not the focus, and like, like they're in the corner or whatever of the shot, and I'm like, you don't just do that. I'm like, that's not just like, oh, it's a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
It's because you want something in the background, and then there's nothing in the background. I'm like,
You would like Insidious.
The great cop out is when the cop is pouring him coffee, and it's very clearly shot in a way where something is gonna pop out into the
Yeah.
the window.
yeah,
And then you just hear the bells jingle, and then he just camera moves, and you're like, "Ah, you son of a gun, you got me."
yeah,
I think in terms of what makes this film, part of the reason why I think this film makes me enjoy jump scares more is because it sits with the actual ghost. Insidious doesn't really do that. Insidious is more of the classic, like, just a quick flash and then it immediately cuts to something else.
Yeah.
This film is like, no, we'll jump scare you with the ghost and then we'll show you its face and just hang there for a second. Like the scene where the little girl is trapped in the room and the Annabelle is in the rocking chair and it like turns around to her. And any other conventional horror film of the same era, as soon as she sees the ghost, it would have immediately cut to
Yeah.
like the grandmother waking up or something.
That's like the most popular.
That's how you do jump
That's
scares.
the most
basically.
popular jump scare in Insidious, though, right? Is the red face behind the
Yeah.
guy at breakfast,
And it's like half
and it's literally a
half
split
a second.
second. Yeah.
A blink and you miss it kind
Uh-huh.
of stuff. Insidious is filled with that, but that's like the conventional way of doing a jump scare. This film, like, forces you to look at the ghost.
It's like, we just scared you.
Yeah.
We're gonna scare you for
Yeah.
another
Which
minute
is-
and a half.
Yeah.
like why I think it does it better, because like you're saying, like a jump scare is just the jump. It's just a bah! Right. I'm gonna have to mute that.
Scare yourself while you're editing.
Yeah.
no, just because like I know like I'm gonna see it in the waveform, it's just be a
yeah.
massive spike for no reason. I'm like, great. But like that's all a jump scare is. So like this was like playing on the dread of it, where it's like,
Yeah.
you got jumped, and it's like, okay, cool, the thing doesn't vanish.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop being a corporeal. Well, none of them corporeal, but like doesn't stop being an entity, right?
Good word. I feel like that's part of the reason why when they show the ghost on top of the cabinet, that stuck with me, because it's like, even watching it way, way, way back when, I was like, you're actually like showing us the ghost.
Yeah.
Nobody does that. That's awesome. I love that.
And they did a great shot with that one too. Talking about that shot in general, where like they show the ghost,
Mhm.
there's a pause, it zooms, and like they're short, like maybe half a second pauses, but like you see the ghost. There's your jump scare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think like even I was like, I said something when it showed it. I freaked out.
Because they have
Oh.
it like it's hanging
Yeah,
over
it's, like,
the
crouched.
top. Yeah. And then
Um,
it cuts away, and then it cuts back, and it zooms in on her
Yeah,
face.
it zooms in, and then she jumps, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah. It's just great terror.
yeah, it's exactly, yeah. And I think that
Unsettling.
if I had to give a word to describe the feeling of watching this movie, it would be just like terror or dread. Like
Terrifying.
this whole experience
Yeah.
is just like, everything bad is going to happen, and you can't escape it, because it's not going to just shoot away from it. It wasn't like the dread of like Alien Romulus. We're like, okay, well, they're like surrounded by face huggers, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
no, like this is like pure actual dread, because like it's inescapable.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna see it. You can't run.
And you say that Conjuring 2 is even scarier?
I personally think so, only because I don't even know. I don't remember most of that movie.
That's the one where they're in England, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a lot more plot given to Ed and Lorraine on their relationship and why he didn't want her involved in anything. But I think also like there's just more jump scares on the ghost. Like there's more emphasis on their scares also. So
We're not going to make you watch it yet.
Next year. We'll watch it next year.
We'll watch one a year.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I saw Conjuring 2 in theaters, and I I don't remember much
I
from
have
it at all.
one vivid memory of a jump scare that they did because
Yeah.
he ends up lingering on it as well, and it's like a good 5 minutes of it, and it's just it's for a week I could not sleep.
Next year, you got a whole year to build up to it. You'll be all right. You'll get over
Doesn't
it.
Build
make
up your
me
tolerance.
Feel better.
Speaking of the franchise, how do you feel about them never having done the Amityville Horror yet?
Well, because that's already a franchise on its
Yeah,
own.
but I feel like you could do it with this iteration of Ed and Lorraine.
That's true. You could. I think part of it is probably just because they can't get the rights to it. Then
Probably.
I'm sure.
Are there rights to the Amityville Horror?
Well, there's the original book,
Right.
and then there's the movie adaptation, and then there's the rest of the franchise.
But there's
And
a
then there's
real life
The
event.
actual real life
Yeah.
event underneath that, which they could just say like, we're not going to sell the rights any longer, if they've retained them.
Yeah.
So
Third one they go on they just do a snippet of it, right? Wasn't it?
Mm,
of the third Conjuring film?
Yeah, like in the like it opens with.
Not that I remember. No.
no, they haven't covered it yet.
Oh, it was the other one.
I mean, it's one of those things that's like they have to tease it every time. Like even at the end of this one, we're like, "Oh, we got a call from Long Island,"
Yeah.
and it's like it. Maybe they'll get to it. Maybe they won't.
It'll be the Avengers of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
horror genre.
It's the Ed and Lorraine show up, and then the cast from Blair Witch Project.
It's like Bill Murray comes out. He's like,
Yeah.
"We're
Yeah.
assembling a team."
Ghostbusters.
yeah.
Hey,
Watch that next.
let's do Ghostbusters.
It's not a
Let's
bad
do the new Ghostbusters.
one.
Talk about scary.
Let's not.
You guys ever seen Ghostbusters 2?
The new one.
No, like the
don't think
old.
so.
there's
Okay,
a
so
sequel to
from the
original.
first one.
Yeah,
No,
No, I don't think I have.
it's not worth it.
you haven't seen. the
Yeah,
first
I would assume
Ghostbusters?
so.
I've seen bits and pieces.
When Bill Murray, the man who says that he doesn't do sequels, does a sequel, you know you're gonna be in for something
Yeah.
not worth watching, in my opinion.
R.I.P.
So, you guys, with your infinite love of the horror genre, how would you rank this one?
I mean, it was good. Like, it's a good movie.
Rank it based off of technical quality, and then
Right.
rank it based off of scare quality.
Yeah, rank it off of vibes.
Okay, so
How'd
like,
you vibe to this movie?
so like pure vibes, it's like in the gutter. Like the vibes were not it.
the vibes were low.
understandable.
The vibes were low.
That's fair. That's fair.
Morale is rock bottom. I will be drinking when I get home. In terms of like technical and like actually just is it a good movie? Like you said, the plot leaves something to be desired. That's expected. But like all the other like set design, music choices, how everything was used, lighting also played a huge part in this, which was freaking me out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a solid A. I don't think it's S for me, but like I think it's definitely like a clean A.
Speaking of lighting, why the was all the lights on at all times? That is like a 10,000 square foot house. Their electric bill must have been at least like $600.
I had that.
They never
feeling
turned off
too
lights.
when they're setting up all of the cameras around the house, and I'm like, those are film cameras, my
Yes.
guy. That's
Yeah.
expensive.
Like when she's walking, the first time she's walking around and like her door, all the doors are open, all the lights are on. I'm like, dude, how does anybody get sleep in this house?
Yeah,
That's what this is. They're just all hallucinating because they
Yeah.
don't get sleep in this goddamn house.
yeah.
All the lights are on and everybody's just walking around with
So
doors open.
There were multiple times where like it's the middle of the night, everybody's asleep, and somebody's like walking around making a ton of noise before
Yeah.
anything scary happens. Everybody's sleeping through it. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you on?
I have
I'm like, I can't sleep
I
through
have
like
my door closed. My bed is on the other side of the wall, and I
Yeah.
still hear James when he opens the door almost every
Yeah.
morning.
like
I immediately
Sorry.
go back to sleep, but I still hear.
Okay, cool.
Or like if an Amazon driver comes and knocks off a package in the morning.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Sorry if I ever disturb you.
I go back to sleep.
I turn
It's
the light
just-
on in
it's
the
just
kitchen.
funny.
yeah, that
Those
was
are some heavy sleeping.
There were a handful of moments where
Family.
I was like, that doesn't make sense because like that's one of them. Like the family
Yeah.
sleeps way too heavily to make any sense. The light bulb in the basement gets replaced multiple times.
Okay, now we're just nitpicking. I just
Yeah,
No, I
now
know, but
you're
like
just
it
nitpicking.
was
I
one
was
of those
trying to
things. Like,
meme, and you're like,
it was one of those things
you're
where
doing
like
cinema sins over
my,
here.
my brain caught it, and I was like, I can't let this go. I was like, I need to bash this somehow. I gotta find something.
Isaac, where would you rank it?
S. This is probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
Nice.
We can
I think it's this Halloween, and
We can fix that. We're watching Antichrist.
I think it's this Halloween and the original Alien. They're
Nice.
probably top 3 for me in the
Nice.
horror genre. Even though I really did like Halloween, the 2018 one. I do like that one a lot, but I think those 3 have a special place in my heart and always
Halloween Kills.
will. No. The one before that one.
I know.
Halloween Kills is at the bottom of that list. And then there's 50 Feet of Crap, and then it's Halloween Ends.
There's whale poop, and then there's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would give this one an A, in my opinion. It's solid.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about it. Is
Yeah.
It's just a solid horror film.
It's a
It's-
step above, so it gets an A, but it's still just a solid.
Because the
A.
thing with a lot of horror is that it's like sometimes you have to gauge, like, okay, what does this person find scary if you're going to show them something?
Yeah.
Good thing about the Conjuring and the Insidious films is that I feel like everyone can watch them and be scared by them,
Mhm.
regardless of what it is you find scary.
Mhm.
They work across the board. You know, it's
Mhm.
like somebody isn't into like gore, don't show them something like the Saw movies.
Right.
You know, if somebody isn't into like psychological horror, don't show them something like Hereditary.
Mhm.
But everyone would find these movies scary. You know,
It's a little something. 8 out of 10. A little something for everybody. I stole your joke.
no, it wasn't a joke.
It was the light
was a
popping,
noise.
and my James looking at me as my pupils like shrank.
Like a cat who sees
Yeah.
danger. He was
Yeah.
just like locked in.
Audio listeners, you're gonna miss out on all the freaking moments of I'm just like tensing up because I'm hearing stuff.
So let's rehash this discussion before we end. Do you guys believe in ghosts?
I mean, they have to be real. There's a whole Ghost Adventures show that's been going on for like 16 years.
How many adventures can ghosts have?
What is the intro? We're seeking answers.
Oh.
Seeking answers.
There are some things in this world that we will never truly understand. We want answers.
I showed Connor a TikTok. I sent Connor a TikTok one time. It's like me and my friends drunk at 6 a.m. off Margs. And it's just a picture of them in the theme song in the background.
Walking around the insane
we hear a
asylum.
noise in my basement and we're drunk off Margs at 6 a.m. I was like, yeah, that's good.
I love Ghost Adventures, full disclosure.
we
One of my
love Ghost
favorite TV
Adventures.
shows of all time.
It's so funny.
I imagine they would have put that together when you quoted it. Quoted the intro verbatim.
Verbatim.
Yeah. When you're
We
like, no,
spent
no, no,
years
shut
building
up.
our credibility. Anyway,
Uh,
do you believe in ghosts?
I mean, I feel like I am agnostic, if only because I feel like if I say no, I'm not, the ghost will latch onto that and be like, hey, guess what, bitch boy?
you can be agnostic and still believe there's something though.
That's what agnostic means, James.
Yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah,
You're not
but
James, but
He was so mad. He actually thought he was arguing against me.
no, but I'm saying you could say like there are.
do you know what the term means?
I got him. I got him again.
God.
I got him again.
It's so good. It's such a good bait. I love a worm on a stick.
He fell for it twice.
Son of a bitch.
You say that you firmly believe, or you medium believe?
In ghosts?
Yeah.
I believe in spirits.
Spirits?
Yeah.
What
Good
about the
cop.
father
Whether
and the
good or
son?
bad. There is a father and there is a son. I am a son. I do have a father, so yes, that is factual.
You say that you're 50-50 on it?
Yeah, I feel like we don't have the science to fully say there isn't, and I don't feel like we have the science to fully say there is.
It's just
So,
something we don't understand.
it's just something we don't understand. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I believe in ghosts.
Have you had a paranormal encounter before?
Yes and no. My house has been up for a long time. It's been around for a very long time. You wanna come visit my house?
Guys, we should go do a ghost hunting at our house.
No, there was
Oh,
one time we went
Boy, would you look at the
10
time.
likes and we'll do it on camera. 10 likes. Okay, yeah, back down to one
One
like.
like.
1 like and we'll do it on camera.
There was one time we went ghost hunting in a graveyard on 4th of July.
You went ghost hunting in a graveyard on 4th of July.
Don't know why we
That
went.
sounds like an
Did you find anything?
No, we used
Nothing?
an app on our phone.
Well,
so
because it was
no.
4th of July, not
They
Halloween.
were
Oh, a
celebrating.
lot of people would haunt for
I went ghost hunting on
Patriots?
I went ghost
That's true.
hunting in a graveyard one time, but I was on I was specifically looking for ghost type Pokemon on Pokemon Go.
Yeah,
Because that's what I was told is you just go to graveyards and then
it was true though. Yeah, that's where they spawn.
And I didn't find any.
That's fucked
I got a
up.
Ghastly.
So
I named
it was
after
cool
one
though.
of
We
the
found
graves I saw.
we found a guy who was buried before the Civil War.
Nice.
That was
Dang.
pretty.
I've been to Arlington too. Anyway,
Shout out. Never mind. I'm not gonna shout
It's
out.
a good joke, James.
I'm not gonna,
Thank
I'm not
you.
gonna shout anybody out.
I don't believe in ghosts, but I think the world would be cooler if they did exist.
Well, yeah, because they bring the temperature down.
Yeah. Good. Like I said, it'd be cool.
Not good. I live here.
I would love to have a paranormal experience.
I don't want
think
that.
it would be fun.
What the
I
fuck?
would-
Is you okay? We gotta go. We gotta go.
No,
Turn the
see-
lights off.
See, this is where James and I differ. James would like a paranormal experience. I would like a pair of normal experiences.
Great wordplay. I approve that.
It's a rap battle.
Are we gonna do that again?
No.
Okay.
You know, read your character sheet.
All right. See you guys next week when we review another not as scary film.
I can see you winking.
Follow us on Instagram, hitplay.pod.
It's gonna be scary. We like to post clips, interactions.
We upload new episodes there as well.
Mm.
And then Spotify listeners as well. Make sure you rate us. Give us a good 5-star rating on Spotify. 5-star reviews. 5-star rating on Spotify. Are we doing ASMR now?
All 5-star review.
And who's that behind you?
Stop.
Bye.